what's the relationship between your rig tuning for particular airspeed and then the angle of attack adjustment? I assume they kind of go hand in hand.
They do. I tend to try to keep my rig as insanely powered up as I can all the time. Basically, I think if I really work it really hard, I can be in the first spin hole and get the boat to launch in 10 knots. I definitely can do it in 12. It just is a much longer process of building speed. So essentially, at a high angle of attack, you're going to fly at a lower boat speed. So you don't need to do as much speed build in order to get up on the foils. At lower angles of attack, while we don't recommend going to them until the breeze gets well up there, because you don't need to in terms of controlling the boat, but you can sort of move your angle of attack forward aggressively, and particularly if you think the breeze is going to come up a lot later, and still get flying in much lighter conditions than you would target for that angle of attack.
Which allow to be going 9 knots to lift off rather than 7.
Yes. And trying to get the boat going 9 knots when there's only 9 knots of breeze, never going to do it. If there's 12 knots of breeze, you can probably get going 9 knots, and then you will lift off up into the air. And I've found that when you do not have enough power in your rig, you get stuck. So like I was talking to you yesterday about really tuning up your top battens. I had an experience where I was out and it was blowing 12 to 14 and I couldn't foil because the first day or first couple days I'd used the sail, it had been blowing like 20, 25, 30. And so I tightened up the battens, but I hadn't bothered to do the light air batten tuning because I knew I was going to have no problem foiling in 20 plus knots. And so then I went out and I knew in the back of my head I should probably tune up these battens, but the forecast was for 18 to 20. And I'm like, nah, I'll still be able to fly, no problem with the non-tuned up battens. And then it was like chop from the 18 to 20, which died, and 12 to 14 knots of breeze with really vicious chop. And I did everything I could at deck level to jack up the rig tension and get the boat flying. And because I did not have the camber in the top of the sail, I flew, I got flying a little bit, but it was just like, holy crap, I just turned 14 knots into 8 by not having camber up there. And then like all your foil controls, all your sail controls other than tensioning your battens are available to you at deck level. Like the two things that aren't available at deck level are the length of your upper shrouds and tensioning your upper battens, and those are the two things that I basically max out to light air tuning regardless. Because it doesn't seem to hurt me depowering the boat in the upper wind range, and if it is light, I can't out on the water easily adjust those to get the boat into the right tune. So I just max them for the light air tuning and then do everything else on the deck level. And that's also my theory of sort of leaving the sail powered up and adjusting the foils, is that I found from that, having a sail that's not cambered and powered up enough is way more detrimental than having less AOA on your foils. And when you have less AOA on your foils, you have less drag. So when you do get flying, although you've made it harder to get in the air, you will go faster. So that's the other sort of trick here, is what they actually do on some boats where they can adjust on the fly on a pulley system, the AOA on the main foil, is they will actually take the AOA on the main foil to a minimum and not try and fly at all in marginal breeze while they're accelerating, because there's less drag on the foil. They get the boat going as fast as they possibly can, and then you basically rip it to your max lift setting. You have like marks on the line, and you're just like, okay, I'm going fast now, boom, get up into the air, and then ease it back off. We don't have that ability. That's one more thing technique you'd have to learn. We tried to keep it super simple. So the sort of UFO equivalent of that is you try and do the same thing with body weight by just pitching the whole boat. So you're probably talking to a lot of you guys yesterday in the marginal air takeoffs. Lean forward. Sort of if you don't think the boat's going fast enough to foil yet, weight forward is going to lower AOA on your foils, which reduces drag. It's also going to lift your sterns out of the water and reduce wave drag off your sterns. And then only when you're going nice and fast and have the boat loaded up, do you rock back, get the AOA onto the foils, get launched, and then if you have everything tuned right, you should sort of rock medium and just be sitting in the middle of the boat, not lean forward or back once you're up and foiling. Now you may find your bow high or stern high, and you'll be doing one of these to keep the boat in balance. And that's sort of hang on to that, have fun foiling for as long as you can. And then when you come off the foils, adjust your rudder rig so that next time when you come up, you can just sort of sit nice and upright in the middle of the boat, probably hikes back a little bit, and the boat will be level due to the foil tune, not due to you sort of moving your body weight around. There's actually, if you guys read the Seahorse article on the boat, that was during a tuning session here, and it's probably the most published picture of the UFO. And Dave's boat is tuned up correctly, and my boat is purposely mistuned just to, as a test. And if you look at where I'm sitting, I am sitting on the aftmost pad, leaned past the back edge of the boat, trying to keep the thing from just nosediving on me.
It's totally skippy, though.
It looks cool. It's completely the wrong way to sail the boat.